It began, as such things always do, with arrogance. The Karth Dominion descended upon the human colony of Eidolon Reach like carrion birds upon an unarmed beast. The planet, a jewel of pale blue seas and shimmering green plains, was known more for its universities and art halls than for any military value. To the Dominion, it was prey. The attack came without warning. Their capital ships emerged from folded space like fangs tearing through reality. Orbital defense stations, civilian-grade, designed for meteor monitoring and traffic regulation, were glassed within minutes. Communication arrays burned like pyres across the horizon. The Karth broadcast their demands as they bombarded the surface. Kneel, Terrans. Submit your colonies, your fleets, your pride. The Dominion tolerates no rivals. You are but soft creatures of soil and sky. You will bend or burn. When the transmission reached Earth, it was already too late for Eidolon Reach. Every major city had been vaporized. The surviving colonists, barely 200,000, were gathered into the great amphitheater at Elysia Prime and executed live, a spectacle transmitted across Dominion space. Children cried out as plasma fire swept through the crowd. The alien legions cheered. Their High Marshal, Korvek, raised his claw and declared, "Let this be a lesson to the humans. Their courage ends where fear begins." They thought fear would keep humanity silent. They never understood what kind of monster fear awakens when given fangs. The Feast of Arrogance. The Dominion's fleets returned home in triumph. Across their 1,000 worlds, banners were raised in celebration. Songs were written about the burning of Eidolon Reach, about the day the Soft-Worlders learned to tremble before the Karth. They toasted to their strength, their dominion, their victory. High Marshal Korvek stood before the Dominion Council on Draal Prime, the golden light of their twin suns glinting off his armored carapace. He basked in the adulation. "The Terrans are finished," he declared. "They will not dare strike back. Their kind fears death. Ours feasts upon it." The chamber erupted in laughter. To them, humanity was a curiosity, ambitious, reckless, loud, but soft. Always speaking of diplomacy, of reason, of peace. To the Karth, peace was the language of the weak. When their analysts reported that Earth had gone silent, no transmissions, no responses, not even political protests, the Dominion interpreted it as submission. They believed fear had finally done its work. The Karth media called it the silence of the Terrans, and for 6 long months that silence endured. No retaliation, no threats, no words, only quiet. But in that quiet, something ancient stirred. 3. The silence before the storm. The Dominion's observers didn't notice it at first. A few missing ships here, a few broken beacons there. Trade routes lost contact for a day or two. Perhaps pirates, perhaps solar interference. Nothing unusual. But then came the whispers. A scout fleet dispatched to patrol the Orion expanse vanished. An entire garrison outpost stopped transmitting. Wreckage found adrift. Karth ships, hulls melted into slag, weapons cold and untouched. And still, the humans said nothing. When the Dominion finally sent a deep space probe toward Sol, it returned. A single data packet before vanishing. Earth's orbital shipyards were dark, every dock empty, every berth silent. At first, the Council laughed. "They've abandoned the stars," one said. "They've fled to their homeworld, hiding behind their blue skies and oceans." But the silence grew heavier. It wasn't surrender, it was preparation. On the 100th day after Eidolon Reach, the Dominion's border patrols began detecting faint signals. Encrypted, ancient, human-coded. One word repeated across the void. Retribution. And then, the stars began to move. Foo. The dreadnoughts. Awakened, they came from the darkness beyond Pluto's shadow. Ships the Dominion had never seen before. Not the fragile freighters or light cruisers humanity once fielded. These were Leviathans. Each dreadnought bore the mark of vengeance in steel. Hulls kilometers long, armored in neutron-forged alloys that drank fire instead of reflecting it. Their drives burned cold blue, silent as the grave, until they ignited like suns. The first to appear was Hess Iron Resolve. Then Hess Vengeance, Hess pale dawn, and Hes Eidolon's memory, named for the lost colony. Behind them came fleets, endless in number, black silhouettes blotting out constellations, and with them came the voice of Earth, broadcast across every frequency, every Dominion world, to the Karth Dominion. This is not war. This is consequence. The Dominion scrambled, fleets mobilized, planetary shields raised, defenses prepared, but humanity had learned. Every strike, every atrocity from their history, from the burning of London to the ashes of Mars, they had remembered, and they had built their vengeance from those lessons. The dreadnoughts entered Dominion space not as invaders, but as executioners. The first retaliation. The first target was Dral Prime itself. The Dominion's capital world, heart of their empire, surrounded by 3 planetary rings, 2 moons, and fleets numbering in the thousands. They were ready, confident, until the sky turned black. When Iron Resolve dropped from folded space, its mass eclipsed the dawn. Its weapons charged, and the world's twin suns dimmed beneath the flare of its reactors. The Karth hailed it, demanded parley, threatened annihilation. The dreadnought did not answer. Instead, it opened its hull. From its flanks descended thousands of kinetic projectiles, dense tungsten rods guided by AI precision, accelerating to relativistic speeds. No energy shields could block them, no armor could endure them. The first impact shattered a moon. The second broke Dral's orbital ring. The third split the planet's crust like glass. From orbit, the destruction looked almost serene. Continents cracking, oceans boiling, cities folding into molten rivers. The Karth screamed as their atmosphere ignited. And above it all, the dreadnought's cold voice whispered once more. For Eidolon Reach. Within hours, the Dominion's core burned. The collapse. The remaining Karth fleets rallied, desperate and broken. They struck at humanity's armadas, expecting equal battle. They found none. The human fleets fought like predators that had tasted blood. Every engagement was precise, merciless, absolute. They did not conquer worlds, they erased them. When the Karth deployed bioweapons, the humans answered with orbital mirrors that turned those clouds into plasma. When they hid behind planetary shields, humanity used gravitational destabilizers to collapse their moons into them. When they tried to flee into deep space, humanity followed, silent, relentless. In one infamous battle over the Ankar Nebula, 300 Karth warships faced 20 Terran dreadnoughts. The fight lasted 11 minutes. None of the Karth survived. The humans lost one vessel. Its crew evacuated before it detonated, vaporizing an entire moon to take their enemies with it. Every Dominion broadcast was intercepted and replaced with a human warning. You thought we feared you. You mistook restraint for weakness. You burned our children and taught us to become the flame. Entire sectors went dark. The Karth homeworlds were gone, their colonies, glass and silence, and still, humanity advanced. Sibin. The last plebi. The time the Dominion's last High Marshal, Korvek himself, stood before the remnants of his fleet. The stars around them were ash. He watched as human dreadnoughts encircled his command world. No longer speaking, no longer sending demands. They didn't need to. He tried to negotiate, broadcasting in every known language. We surrender. We yield. The Dominion is yours. Spare us. For a long moment, there was silence. Then came the reply. Not from a diplomat, not from a soldier, from a voice synthesized by the AI aboard Eidolon's memory. We warned you. Fear has teeth. The dreadnought's cannons opened fire, and the Dominion died. AT. The aftermath of Wrath. When it was done, the galaxy was quiet. Entire constellations where Karth trade routes once glimmered now drifted empty. Their beacons silent, their worlds barren. The humans did not stay to rule. They did not enslave or rebuild. They simply left. One by one, the human fleets withdrew into the dark, leaving behind wreckage, glassed planets, and the echo of their vengeance. For decades afterward, alien species spoke of the event in hushed tones. Some called it the Great Purge. Others named it the Silence of Dral. But among those who had witnessed it, the merchants, the refugees, the spies, it was called something older, something more primal. They called it The day fear learned its name, HFY. Echoes in the dark a century later. Explorers from the Varel Union, neutral observers, found one of the abandoned Terran dreadnoughts drifting between galaxies. Its hull was scarred, its weapons cold. On its side, still legible through centuries of dust, were the words, "We do not fear." Inside the ship's silent bridge, a single recording looped endlessly. A human voice, quiet and tired, whispering to no one. We warned them. We offered peace. They mistook our mercy for fear. They learned too late. Fear has teeth. The explorers sealed the vessel and fled. They left it drifting, untouched, a tomb for vengeance, a warning carved in steel and silence. No one approached human space again. Not the Varel, not the Drax, not even scavengers. The Sol system became a myth, its coordinates erased, its gates closed. Because in every alien tongue, one truth now endured. Never awaken humanity's fear. It does not run. It hunts. X, the whispered. Lesson across the void, in smoky taverns and war councils, alien commanders whisper it to new recruits. Do not provoke the Terrans. Do not test their silence. For when the humans are quiet, when their fleets vanish, when their transmissions cease, it is not peace that follows, it is preparation.